welcome back to episode 102 of the Who Are You to Lead Anyway podcast, where we not only master the skills we need to navigate leadership in life, but today we also explore the essence of leadership through personal growth and self-discovery. I think that's what we do every time there's an episode. However, I digress. How are you doing today? If you have just found me in my work, welcome. And if you have been here since the beginning, it's so nice to be with you again. I am in my sun porch again, just as I was last week, recording this episode. And so if anything, noisy happens, I apologize, but I have no idea what is just around the corner that I might not be aware of. Either way, today, I'm so excited because we're going to dive into a topic that's crucial for every leader's journey, which is self-love. Now, hang on. Hang on, bear with me, because I know corporate environments focus on those measurable outcomes, efficiency, and profitability. And those are all great things, but they can also overshadow the importance of concepts like self-love. But at the core of leadership lies something equally important: how we treat ourselves. Now, why is this important? Well, firstly, it's super important because how we treat ourselves often mirrors how we interact with others. Self-love and self-care can significantly influence our relationships and our leadership style. The way we treat ourselves sets the tone for our interactions with others, and by cultivating self-love, leaders can foster healthier, more productive, and more positive relationships in both our personal and professional lives. So the good news here is that there's a growing recognition of the importance of mental health and well-being in the workplace. So integrating self-love into corporate culture can lead to a more engaged, creative, and resilience within employees, which ultimately benefits everyone. You, the individuals, the organization, the community, like the ripple effect is significant. And if leaders don't model self-love and self-care, it's unlikely to become a part of the organizational culture. Now, I know that while it's hard to go first, I also know that if you're here and you're listening to this podcast, you are someone who goes first. You are someone who wants to do things in a different way. So our leadership behavior sets the tone for what is valued and prioritized within the companies we choose to work for. This is why I wanted to talk with you about it. Now, self-love isn't about just feeling good. It's about recognizing our worth as a human. It is about embracing our flaws as a human. It is about nurturing a healthy relationship with all of the various parts of ourselves. Some of those parts we don't like. Like there are parts of us that like to avoid, that like to resist, that we want to keep hidden from other people. But self-love is about accepting all of that. So today I want to walk through 5 elements that I think make up self-love based on the work that I've done with myself and the work that I've done with hundreds of leaders within the leadership space. And the first piece of this, the most important piece of it, I believe, is self-acceptance. Now, Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American essayist and poet, once said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." And I believe this and I feel this so much because embracing who we are, imperfections and all, is the foundation of self-love. This is about acknowledging that our value, right, the value we bring to the role that we have, the value we bring to our relationships, the value we bring to our organizations isn't tied to perfection or achievement or anything else outside of ourselves, but it is tied to our uniqueness and our authenticity instead. So I just want to ask you a couple questions. Like, can you recall a moment when you felt most authentic? How did that experience impact your own sense of self-worth? What are some unique qualities or strengths that you possess that you often overlook? These are questions that I work with my clients on. So I'm just going to offer them to you. And I'm just going to pause because I'm really, really hoping that that lawnmower that I'm hearing that you is not translating to the recording here for you. So the second piece is self-compassion. Now, Buddha, and I'm sure you know who Buddha is, right? Founder of Buddhism, reminds us, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Just let me repeat that. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So, treating ourselves with kindness and understanding is essential. And as leaders, we must learn to forgive ourselves for the mistakes and failures that we make that allow us to grow and evolve without self judgment. So, when was the last time you forgave yourself for a mistake? How did it feel to let go of self judgment? How can you be kinder to yourself in moments of stress or failure, right? And we could even have an entire episode on failure. The third piece I want you to think about is self care. Now, Eleanor Brown, a contemporary writer and advocate for mental health, wisely said, self care is not selfish. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. So this is such a beautiful metaphor. Like if you just think about that, you have a cup, there's nothing in it. How can you possibly give someone something you don't have? This is why prioritizing our well-being is not selfish. It is necessary. It's necessary. So whether it's through your physical health, your mental relaxation, or simply doing something that you love to do, self-care empowers us to lead effectively and sustainably. So what activities or practices might you feel most rejuvenated and energized by? How can you incorporate more of those things into your routine? The other question I would have for you here is like, how do you currently prioritize your self care? And what changes could you make to better support your own well being? I'm just going to stop here for a second and just share some of the things that I've been doing. I've recently begun doing some breathwork sessions, and it has been fascinating to me to just learn more about how my body holds stress, responds to stress, and how I can work with my breath and just work through and understand what a powerful human being I am when I work with my breath. Right. So that's a way that I am engaging currently in self care, not to mention meditation and mental fitness and all those things that you've heard me talk about before on the podcast. I am still doing things and exploring new ways of caring for myself. And I invite you to do the same. This brings me to self respect. Now, Robert Tu, an author and motivational speaker, reminds us respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, grows you, or makes you happy. This is where honoring your values and setting priorities and boundaries demonstrates self respect. This is about advocating for ourselves and ensuring that our needs and principles are respected in our professional and personal lives. So I want you to think about a time when you stood up for your values. How did that decision affect your confidence and self respect? Another question to ask yourself is what boundaries can you set in your personal or professional life to protect your energy and your integrity? Now, the last piece is self discovery. So, Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Now, I'm just going to say that the more I think I know myself, the more it's apparent to me that there's so much more that I don't know. However, knowing ourselves deeply and continually seeking professional and personal growth is a hallmark of self love. Leaders who invest in understanding their strengths, their talents, their interests, their passion foster authenticity and inspire others when they do that. So, what are some of the interests or passions that you've always wanted to explore but haven't yet pursued? And what's holding you back from doing that? Right? How can you make time for self-reflection and personal growth amidst your busy schedule? Your schedule's always going to be there, right? But how can you make time for yourself and what you need? So, I'm going to offer 3 practical tips for cultivating self-love. The first is to practice gratitude. So, regularly reflecting on your achievements and the positive qualities that you possess as a human, right? Just celebrate your success, no matter how small, and cultivate a positive mindset for yourself. The thing about gratitude that I've noticed is the more that I'm grateful for, the more I have to be grateful for. So it's a self fulfilling thing, right? It's a self fulfilling prophecy. And we already know that if I want to find all the things that could go wrong, I can find that. But if I want to find all the things to be grateful for, I can find that too. It all exists, right? The second tip is to set boundaries. Now, this is super important because protecting your energy and your well being is really important. And in order to do so, you have to establish healthy boundaries with other people. You have to learn how to say no when it's necessary to do so and prioritize your needs without guilt. This is optional. Guilt is optional. Just think about this for a second. Like, what purpose does feeling guilty serve, right? Other than making you feel terrible, it doesn't feel good. And the medicine for this is self compassion, right? So treating yourself like you would a friend. You would never tell someone, oh, well, yeah, of course, spend the rest of your afternoon feeling guilty. You would never suggest that. So then why wouldn't you suggest the same for you, right? Just feel free to set it down. There is nothing to be gained by carrying it. The last tip for cultivating self love is to embrace imperfection. So, this is why last week during the episode, when I couldn't remember that I was talking about a table and I couldn't remember what, I said, well, I don't know. I wouldn't call it art. It's kind of like a piece of wood. This is why I left it in the episode. I could have recorded that over. I could have shown you something that you would have thought would have been perhaps perfect. Who knows what you would have thought? Either way, understand that for you, leadership, and for me too, leadership isn't about being flawless. It is about being human. And what this means to be human is we need to embrace our imperfections. And I know that I say this all the time, but it so bears repeating. We need to learn from our challenges and see them as opportunities for growth. Listen, we are in charge of our obstacles, not the other way around. We are in charge of our obstacles. So, self love isn't just a personal indulgence. Self love is a strategic advantage. When you prioritize self care, you're not only enhancing your own resilience and effectiveness, but you're also setting a powerful example for your team. The well being and performance of your team reflect the energy and attitude you bring to your leadership. This is why investing in yourself is the first step in investing in your team's success. When you invest in you, it's an investment for them, right? So, by nurturing a compassionate relationship with ourselves, we not only enhance our leadership abilities, but we also inspire those around us to do the same. And that, to me, is leadership. I want to say thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Who Are You to Lead Anyway? I know this was a short one, but I want you also to remember that leadership begins from within. We can't lead someone else if we can't lead ourselves. So until next week, I want you to lead with love, or consider that all I can do is invite. I want you to invite you to lead with love, authenticity, and purpose. And I will see you back here next week, same time, same place. Have a great week. Hey, leader. Thanks for tuning in to the Who Are You to Lead Anyway podcast. I hope today's episode inspired you to embrace your authentic leadership journey. I want to invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamesoncoach.ca and claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. This guide will help you understand what truly matters most to you. My vision is to empower individuals to live and lead lives in harmony with their core values, become catalysts for positive change, and navigate transitions, all while fostering connection and belonging in the world. Lastly, your feedback shapes this show, so I would be honored if you would subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you so much for being a part of this community dedicated to authentic leadership. Together, let's make a meaningful difference in this world.